What is this? Some type of pottery with a plug in the center. I found it in a storage unit amongst china and other antiques. The only marking seems to be this 3 with 2 dots at the top. I already asked all my colleagues, but they don't know what it is either. What could this be? It's a 19th century foot warmer. You fill it with hot water, lay it down, and put your feet on it. Or you can put it in your bed to warm it up before you get in. Dating back to the Victorian era, these would have an absolute necessity and lifesaver during cold winters. What is this metal satellite dish looking thing inside of my attic? It's very strange to me. It looks similar to a satellite TV dish, but can't be because it's not outside. So, it has to be AM or FM radio or something else. It is metal and round with a proof thing sticking out of the middle, and it is inside, not outside of the attic. More in the middle of the house above the living room. Any ideas? I think I've seen this before. My guess is it is a 1980s microwave receiving dish that was used to bootleg HBO from the local distribution point. After it had been decoded, they usually had a box with a VCO mixer in it that had a control that one had to adjust about every 15 minutes or so, because your system would drift. Look directly in the direction that dish is pointed, and I bet you find a really tall building, a tall radio tower, or something above all the terrain that it was pointed at. What is this thing I purchased at an antique fair? Roughly 25 centimeters by 15 centimeters. It seems to be made from wood and some type of metal. One wooden half slides open to reveal the metal parts. One metal part slides up and down. I haven't done any Google searches as not sure what to search for. Thanks in advance. It's a vintage wooden shuttle for rug weaving. I believe this was invented in Ohio in 1880. I found this in my grandparents' basement in northern Minnesota. It was buried in the ground inside a concrete hole, and it is made of metal. It is about 1 foot tall and about 9 inches in diameter, and it has a hinged lid. What is it? This is a Polar Pack 7 bottle metal cooler, made by Universal Container Company in the 1930s. We had one like this in the backyard of my parents' house built in the 1950s. My mom would put leftover food grease in there. I was trying to figure out what this is. It's metal and has a moving measuring dial, a fixed mirror, and a rotating mirror inside that is pointing at a couple of lenses I believe which also move, and 2 loops on the back. I was sorting through some things in the house and found this. Nobody can seem to figure out what this is. My guess is something to do with an old-fashioned camera, but I truly have no idea. It's 9.6 centimeters by 8 centimeters by 2.8 centimeters, and it's 272 grams. Hoping someone can help identify it. It is an old pocket sextant that is missing some parts. I have one exactly like it, the smallest drum sextant in my collection. It is also arguably the best small sextant in my collection. It is slightly smaller than my box sextants, but much easier to use. What is this ceramic thing from a yard sale? It's around 9 inches wide at its widest point, and about 4 inches front to back. The seller also had a holder for glass negative plates. That, along with the slots inside and lack of other openings, seemed to suggest that this may be a negative plate chemical bath. But he didn't know, and I'd like to know as much as possible. Thanks in advance. Definitely looks incredibly similar to old granitite plate washers and development tanks from the turn of the century that I've seen. There's usually a fitted lid that would sit over the top. I had one of these plate washers in my darkroom. What is this thing I found today while clearing the estate of someone who passed in North Texas? It weighs 11 pounds 11 ounces and about 14.25 inches around and looks to be slightly rusted. No markings. I found it in the back of a closet sort of close to some other military looking items. Unsure of the age of the item or if it's not a cannonball or something else. It's likely one of 3 things: a cannonball from a 12-pounder, a shot put shot is used in track and field, and a very large ball bearing is used in some very large pieces of industrial machinery like trains. From what I can tell, it's too big to be a 12-pounder cannonball, and the weight is wrong for the shot put, So I'm thinking it's a very large ball bearing used in some very large pieces of industrial machinery like trains. What do you think it is? Leave us a comment. What is this rusty metal post made to look like a stick in a residential neighborhood? It has been here a very long time and I've always wondered. It feels like there's something inside it, anchoring it because it wobbles a little if you pull on it, but is securely in the ground. It is hollow and almost like it was designed to be camouflaged. What is it? That is a hitching post for tying your horse, known as a tree trunk hitching post, dating from 1850 to 1900. The lower section would have had wooden planks in it to give it stability underground. Usually about 42 inches would have been above ground. The top features 2 loops through which 2 horses, possibly a team, could have been hitched. What is this thing I found along with some crystal dinnerware? I'm not sure if it's crystal. I found this in a storage auction amidst vintage platinum line china sets, so I'm assuming it's something nice. I'm hoping someone knows more about it than me. Thanks. There are what looks like burn marks on the top of the inside of it, and there's no sign of a bell attached to it. I think it's a candle snuffer, and possibly from the 1950s. What is this wooden thing found at an antique store? It's made of wood. One is slightly taller than the other 2 sides, and the shorter 2 sides are flat. The Google searches I have done turned up a birthing chair, but I really have no idea. What is this thing? It is known as Tuela, circa 1925, a type of stool made with 2 thick boards in a T-shape and with 3 legs. This popular seat is easily carried, so it can be used while doing different tasks like sewing, milking cows or sheep, preparing food, or just seating near the fire. What is this wooden tool with a rotating horizontal rod, a hand crank, and several auxiliary posts with holes? The piece in front with 5 holes rotates. It was found in a storage area of the historic house museum I work in. It has no labels or maker's marks. I have tried for a few days to Google what it may be, but it's difficult to describe it for a search engine. It's very likely from before the 1950s based on the content of our collection. What is this thing? It's a manual sticker or label gumming machine, a bottling and labeling tool. I see some similar style of these machines over the years. Looks like it was used to adhere labels to jars, cans, bottles, etc. This is rare. What are these containers found in my grandma's basement full of wheat and beans? They are quite heavy. Grandpa worked in shipyards during World War II. They come almost to my waist and weigh maybe 30 pounds when empty. Some kind of steel or tin, I suppose. You can see how the top piece unscrews and then the lid comes out. The etched letters are not the same on all of them. Are they originally for food storage or something else? Please let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.